Hello, Steven. How are you, dude?
Okay. I'm all right, dude. I like your.
I thought we were gonna do 4th of July.
I've been so busy with work, dude. I kid you not, dude. I've been going in at 4 a.m., getting
Just
out at
shut you
4
down.
p.m.
Shutting it down.
Shut it down. Shut
Shut
it
it
down.
down. Canceled.
Canceled. I deserve to be canceled. I meant to coordinate with you better. I just haven't had time. I hate it. I hate how tired I
You gotta make time.
am. You're right. Don't say things like that, because then I have to
How
reconsider
you doing,
things.
man?
I'm all right, dude. How are you doing? What are you in, like a hotel room?
No, this is
It's
actually my
so
room.
white and clean there.
Yeah. Usually I switch it around, but it's too much work. So
It
I
is a lot
just
of work.
left it as it is. I was like, fuck it. It is what it
I've
is.
been doing that lately, moving my room around. Actually, we converted this room. It used
Look
to
at
be the
this.
man cave. It's the couple's cave now. Don't tell Juanita; she'll get pissed.
Oh man. What you been up to?
Well, I worked today, so that
Hmm.
was that. I'm glad I'm off. I don't want to go back.
Do you think you're gonna stay at that job for a long time?
What's a long time?
15, 20 years?
No, no,
No.
no.
What's the plan?
The plan is to
So
find
10
a way
years.
to
10 years. Like from this year and then 10 years. Let's say we do a podcast. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
10 years. That's really hard. I bet you don't even know that.
I do.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah. I can.
you have one of those boards. What are they called? Vision boards.
Yeah. You need to get yourself a vision board.
That's true. I need a vision first. I need to know what I want to do in 10 years. But
Yeah,
no,
I
I'm not
think
going to be there.
I
I'm
think
not going to
that's
be
the
there.
hardest part. That the hardest part is probably knowing what you want or where you want to be.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I don't really look at things like, oh, I want to be doing this job. This is my dream job. I don't consider things like that. But I do think about where do I want to be. So
Right.
obviously, things of people our age think about owning a house, having a car, being somewhat not wealthy but financially stable.
Right. So if you were to give in all the money and all the time, what would you be doing?
Oh fuck! Anything I wanted,
Which is
which is like I would sleep in.
that
Um,
doesn't sound very productive, Steven.
but I have all the money in the world, right? I won life already. So what the heck? What else am I
So
gonna do?
you're saying that you can win life, but just having all the money in the world?
Based off of our societal standards and the way that things look now, yeah, everything's profit driven, isn't it?
But isn't it why you have to do the opposite of that?
I think it's a fight to do that. That's for sure.
It
We got
is.
to fight
It
to
is.
change how a lot of these things are. Not everything needs to be profit driven.
Right. And see, that's what I'm scared of, like the future becoming like this thing where it's all about buying. It's all about materials. It's all about buying. It's all about selling. It's all about profits. That's what I'm scared of.
I mean, that's how a lot of it is now.
Hmm. And that's more of a reason why people should be doing the opposite, no?
Yeah. Well, what do you mean by the opposite?
Like not being so materialistic, worrying about your health, worried about yourself, your family, nature, the environment, stuff like that. Stuff that has pretty much stuff that does not have any profit attached to it.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I agree with that. But I mean, leave it to an American to find a way to profit off that stuff, right?
Yeah. And would you
I'll find a
say
way to make
that
money.
Would you say that there is something that's beneficial for the environment, for people, that can also be a profit?
Um, Technology is kind of like that now.
Yeah. Because see, when I see it, like, okay, like for instance, as far as like healthy eating, there's companies out there that understand that you can have a busy life. So what they do is they do like healthy prep meals for you, so that way when you're on the go with your job, your family, and everything, you get this healthy food delivered to you. Would you
Hmm.
say that's something that's profitable, but it's good for people?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that 100%. Why not?
Yeah.
I
See, that
mean, I
it's
think the
hard to
healthier
find other
thing,
things like that.
the healthier thing would be to cook your own food, right?
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Being self sufficient probably has something to do with that.
Yeah.
I mean, but we don't have time, right? We got to work a bunch.
Well, it's hard.
That's my
It's
goal.
hard.
My goal is to not work so much. I don't want to work 40 hours anymore.
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
want to work 40 plus and make what I make now, which isn't
Yeah.
bad, but I'll find another way. I'm
Yeah,
working
and
on it.
see, it's even hard because there's like the fast food restaurants. They're so like they have, the formula that the food is so good and it's so addicting that it keeps people from coming and coming, over and over again. And just to fight that temptation in you, that's already, you kind of have to build some discipline against that.
Yeah, I can see that. But fast food's delicious.
Exactly. Yeah, like, see, the other day, well, what I try to do is have a cheat day, like a cheat day once a week, you know, and on my cheat day, like, when was it? Oh, for Father's Day, right? For
What's your cheat
Father's
meal?
Day, we had a cheat day, and we went to McDonald's, and their
I hate your cheat
hotcakes,
day already.
I
What a terrible cheat day.
their hotcakes are so delicious, but they're so bad for you. So it's like, I get it. I get why people keep on coming because it's so good.
I hate your cheat day.
Why?
McDonald's.
That was just for
I could have made
breakfast.
you some pancakes and shipped them to you or emailed them.
Yeah. Well, for that day, we didn't want to cook, so it was eat out.
Oh,
Yeah. It was one of those things.
yeah, but there's better things than McDonald's.
Yeah, for
I
sure,
mean,
for sure.
if you're gonna eat something bad, eat something good that's bad.
Like what? Well, that's the purpose of a cheat day, is to eat something bad.
Like,
Eh,
there's no specialized pancake houses in Texas that are not IHOP or Denny's.
yeah. Yeah.
You need to do better next time.
Okay, you got it.
I'm gonna have to find you a pancake house. And what city is that they live in again?
McKinney,
McKinney, Texas.
McKinney, Texas. Yeah, but see,
Dang.
and they're just restaurants all over the place. And as soon as you drive by, just on the street, you get hit with restaurants left and right. And just
Hmm,
the restaurants being there, it kind of, it makes you hungry, or even
I
to
could see
stop
that.
by for a snack. No.
I have a coworker who's all about food. He
Uh-huh.
hates Ontario, but he hates Ontario's restaurant scene. By the way, he says it's terrible, and I agree with him. It's not that good.
Uh-huh. Why, what's wrong with the
It's really
restaurants?
not. Huh?
What, the fast food restaurants or what?
Just the restaurants in general. You remember you worked down here.
Uh-huh.
It gets old after a while, or everything's too far away. It's like
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I do agree with you where the best thing to do is cook your own food.
yeah, sure. Do you have the time
And
to do it? Do people have the time to do it?
that's the problem too. Especially like, I mean, people with that have a family, they're not only gonna cook for themselves, but also their husband, their spouse, the kids, you know. It's tough, but it's necessary. It's important that they do that.
Yeah, and it's fun too once you get into it. I mean, we actually had a problem. Well, actually, personally, I did. Like, I was eating out way too much,
Mm-hmm.
way more than I'd like to disclose. So recently, I just made it a point like, I'm going to start cooking at home regardless. And my day will be packed, but I still got to find, even if I'm cooking dinner and lunch, like right when I get out of work, because usually Monday through Wednesday, part of my schedule, I go to jujitsu. So in between that time, I want to try to start cooking more instead of just like cooking when I don't have that free time.
Right.
And then my girlfriend's got a new job, so she works in the middle of the day now. So I mean, yeah, it's gonna take work, but I'll figure it out. But I am gonna stop. I am stopping eating out. I don't want to eat fast food, and I want to do like try that thing that you said. What is it called? Cheat days.
Yes.
I'm gonna try that one day.
You're gonna
I'll
try
do it
cheat
today.
days.
I'm gonna do cheat day today.
And for you, I would imagine that even just cooking your own food and eating healthier would also help your jiu-jitsu classes, right?
Yeah, yeah. Not only that, but my coach is always on me about his his diet, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do that diet. I don't want to. He's trying to
Why? What
convince
diet is
everybody to
it?
become a carnivore.
Oh, that
So
one's a
where you
bit
only eat meat
to
and
me
butter
that's
and
a bit
cheese.
scary. To me that's a bit scary.
I can see that, but I'm also ignorant. I don't know too much about it, so
Yes.
to say that it's good or bad, I don't know. I can't say.
Yeah. And that's hard because everybody's body works different. It might be good to you or it might be good to your coach, but it might not be good to you or it might be good to me or but I mean everybody and it's crazy how everybody has like a different metabolism and yeah,
Metabolism. Yeah,
or
and
immune system, right?
yeah, and I've actually been losing weight since I've done jujitsu. Obviously, I mean,
Yeah.
I would hope so. Like we get pushed really hard. That shit's not easy.
Well, they say a lot that 20% is in the gym for youth jiu-jitsu class and 80% is on what you eat. And if you're eating junk, then I'm pretty sure you would not be losing weight. And you would probably
What
do horrible in jiu-jitsu.
It's probably, I mean, unless I'm like naturally good. I mean, I don't eat the best and I feel okay, but I'm still new, so I would imagine I'm just terrible. I don't
Right.
think I'm good at all.
Right. But I mean, you're
Um,
restarting.
yeah, and I really like it. I feel like
Hmm.
I'm finally doing something. I finally doing something I really wanted to do, which is weird, right?
How did you how did you find it or what made you want to try it?
Jerry, my buddy Jerry, he said he's been wanting to do jujitsu for like the last few years, and he was looking around and he had his mind set on three different places, and he checked out a couple of them. And this last one that he checked out is right up the street from me here in Riverside. He looked into the trainer, who's an actual MMA fighter, and he went there, tested it out, and he calls me the next day and he says, "Hey, let's do this." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm there. I'll go." So I go watch, and I'm like kidding myself, like thinking, "Oh, I'm just gonna see how it is," and it ended up being like, "No, I'm getting in there." And like the first day that I got there, my elbow exploded.
Your
I
elbow
have a scar.
exploded.
I have a scar right here. Blah 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 blah. I'm
Oh
talking there.
man.
Literally, like I like got taken down. I fell on my elbow, and it just goes, and just blood just starts pouring out of it.
What?
You know.
Why? How?
Um. Um. I was ashy. I had really dry skin,
Hmm.
so the friction from the other person and the dry skin didn't mesh well. I got cut up, and then I felt bad because I got blood all over this guy's gi.
Crazy. And that was your first day.
That was my first day. Yeah, spilled blood everywhere. I was like, man, this is fun. I love it.
Nice. So how did
I'm
you feel?
still new. I felt good. I felt terrible. I was way out of shape, way out of shape, and now I feel pretty good. This guy really pushes us. I've been to another gym actually to train with them, and we were fortunate enough that they let us. They didn't make us pay or anything. They were like, come in, come train with us. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we went, and the pace is so much different from where I train now to there. It's a lot. Where I train, it's really high pace, really, really high pace. Like he pushes you. We'll
Mm-hmm.
be drilling, and then in the middle of drilling, we'll stop, exercise. You got freaking exercise, and it's not like that at other gyms. You're just kind of learning and hearing the coach talk about what they do and stuff. And that's not to put them down or say one's better than the other, but the difference is there. And it made me appreciate where I go. So I love the intensity. I love that it pushes me to my limits. It's a little awkward when you do stuff like that, though. Like if you have a personal trainer, I would imagine it's the same thing because
Mm-hmm.
they see they see you broken down. They see a side of you that a lot of other people don't see, and it makes you feel very really vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a weird. Even now, just thinking about it, it makes me feel weird. Like you know stuff about me
Without
just
knowing
by
you.
like making me get tired.
Mm.
It's awkward. It's awkward. It's like getting to know you on a really personal level.
Yeah, and see that's important that there's stuff like that they can really test you, because I feel like sometimes your ego or someone's ego might be a bit high, but then when you do stuff like that, then you get pinned down to earth and you really know where you stand.
Yeah, I liked your jujitsu reference there, pinned down to earth. That was good.
It was without intention.
Um, yeah, I could see that. I mean, I know I have an ego. Obviously, I have an ego, but I try not to let it show and things like that. I try to be humble. I try to be humble in those things. I don't want to look at myself as good at something or things like that. I just want to keep getting better, keep working, keep practicing, and that's about in almost anything I do in life. Like I don't like to consider myself good at anything. Always learning, always trying.
Yeah, that's the right way to do
Uh,
it.
Instead of practice makes perfect, it's what practice makes progress.
Mm, that's good. Yeah, because
Hmm.
even like when I did the sparring race back, the first one I did was in 2018, and see, before I did it, I I was already working out, but when I did the sparring race, it killed me. Like my legs were dead, my forearms were dead. I was sore for about a week, and then after
Wow.
that, I realized that I really didn't work as hard as I thought.
How
I
about now?
knew.
How about now?
Now, yeah, now I did way better. Like the race was on Saturday, and then by Sunday, I already went for a 3 mile run, and my body
Wow.
was in good shape.
Wow.
Yeah,
And I'm sure your wife loves that too, right? You're slimming down.
she doesn't like, because when I get into something, I really get into something. Like I want to make sure that I cover all the bases,
Hmm.
So like as far as like even when I'm eating, I want to have all my carbless meals, because for me, what really hits me is the carbs. When I eat carbs, that's when I really feel it in my gut, and I get all bloated and I feel all nasty. So
I've never
like
heard that before. Carbs do that to you?
so so when I started training, I just decided to go carbless, and she's usually the one that's cooking me the meals, so she has to kind of find meals or recipes that are carbless. But yeah, she loves
Wow.
that. She loves me training and join the sparring race, and it's also good for our kid who which is really the main purpose, so that way she can see that you could do whatever you want as
Hmm.
long as you
I
train,
can see that.
practice, and like you said, practice make progress.
Practice makes progress. There you go. Your thing on your head. Happy Fourth. What is that? Happy Fourth of July?
Yes.
It doesn't look like it. Looks. It says Happy Fourth. Like it's like
Does
fourth
it?
birthday.
Well, it is Fourth of July weekend. So, what do you think?
Yeah, it's perfect. Perfect for 4th of July weekend.
Yeah.
Well, hold on, I feel naked. Can you give me a second?
Yes.
All right. In the meantime, I'm gonna go.
What is that?
It's a picture that I painted and on Easter, not 4th of July. A summer hat.
All
There
right.
you go.
I like it.
Thank you.
Cheers.
It's not mine. Oh,
Cheers.
oh, cheers.
Oh, what beer is that?
Jalisco Estrella.
You know what? I don't think they sell that here. I forgot about that beer. Hmm.
Why is it? Because it's from across the
Jalisco.
border. Oh,
Yeah. Well,
so it's from Jalisco.
they have Modelo, they have Dos Equis. So
They don't
maybe I
have Corona,
just
right?
yes.
Oh, they do have Corona.
They have what? Corona's everywhere.
I know.
Corona's
Pandemic.
now Corona's now more American than Mexican.
Wow. Like it got its citizenship.
Yeah.
That's good.
Before anybody.
The reason I have the Jalisco though, it's like $20 for a 24 pack right now.
$20 for 24 pack. Damn. And it's
Amazing.
glass?
And it's glass.
Wow.
I don't drink out of plastic. I'm not 18 anymore.
What about aluminum?
No, wait, aluminum, yeah, sometimes.
Hmm.
Can't be helped.
So, see, when I asked you the question if you had free time, a lot like, you know, free time, would jujitsu be part of that besides sleeping?
Yeah, it takes up my free time. It does. That's, I mean, I'm trying to fill it with other things too, but it's kind of hard, you know. Yeah, I'm kind of set in a way, and I am trying to fight against it somewhat.
What do you mean?
Just trying to do a little more things. Like now that it's safer to go back out, you know, I
Oh,
want to see my family more. So I want to do things like that. I want to, you know, do more things with my girlfriend, do jujitsu, do things for myself, you know, and all these things that I want to do don't really entail making more money. Just enjoying what I have now.
right, right.
So it's a little bit of at odds because I do want to get more money, but I also feel like it's important that I spend more time with my family and just do things for myself.
Yeah. How are they doing jujitsu? Like because of COVID?
Riverside is like they Riverside, like the city specifically, is pretty conservative. So they're kind of go against the grain, you know,
Mm-hmm.
anti-mask and do all that good stuff,
Oh,
you know.
really?
Yeah,
Mm. So now it's become more optional.
yeah, but I got vaccinated. I got the vaccine, so I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I know they say, oh, you still got to be careful with this or that, but I think, and I'm not an expert, but I got the vaccine,
You're not?
so I'm good. No,
We're done
I
here.
felt well, okay. No, I'm like, forget it. No, I got the vaccine, so I'm gonna go do whatever I want to do now.
Hmm.
No F's given.
Did you feel like that before the vaccine, or the vaccine just gave you more like empowerment to go do all that?
The vaccine gave me more empowerment, I'd say.
Mm.
Admittedly, I probably shouldn't say this, but I was actually going to jujitsu before I got vaccinated
How dare you?
because I was I was done with it. I was done with
Mm.
it. I was feeling like I'm putting too much of what I want to do on hold now, and I just made a selfish decision, so I did it. I was like, "Fuck this! I'm gonna do it."
Have you? How do you feel about like? Obviously, there's a lot of controversy and a lot of stuff out there in regards to the vaccine. How do you feel about? They're saying that it's an experiment, and even though it's a vaccine, it's not, you know, 100% protected, and we don't know what the side effects are. It's still too early to tell and all that.
Um, I usually just point. Well, I don't know enough about it still, even in the last 2 minutes that we just talked. But I would say just like I kind of think of it like the flu shot we get every year. That's not guaranteed either. I mean, none of this stuff is ever guaranteed. It's hard to say that any of this stuff is like definitive, right? I mean, there's an off chance that something could happen. It's always work in progress. I mean, if I don't, and personally, I don't want to live in a world where people think we have definitive answers for things when we don't. The thing about science is it's always changing. It's always being questioned. It's just that's just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can find a way to you can cherry pick or find a way to disprove it or prove it or whatever's the case. It's just how you. It's just the information's being given to you and what you do with it,
It's up to
how
you.
you act with it. That's on you.
Right.
I mean, so I'm
Do
okay with it.
do you think there's other ways to prevent or if there's other ways or things to do without getting vaccinated, like eating healthy, taking the vitamins, exercising, stuff like that?
That's exactly what you said. Yeah, healthier living, healthier living, hands down. Right? The virus affects people with comorbidities more than others, right? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, that goes with anything, right?
Yeah.
Uh, Healthy eating, healthy living, things like that. Clean water, all that stuff that we need to live a healthy life. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's all relative. So yeah.
Would you say
What about you?
that? Yeah, I feel the same way. Like just like you said, I mean, and see I feel like our body is always our body is very powerful, and um we kind of hmm, I don't know, like our body is very powerful, but it does take a bit some time for it to adapt, especially to new bacteria. Because even now, we have a lot of bacteria that could have killed us thousands of years ago. But, we've adapted to all these things, and we've adapted to all this bacteria, to the germs, the viruses, that it no longer kills us. It might get us sick for a couple days, but there's no death for simple cases like that.
Man, we're in uncharted territory right now. We're just,
Well, right?
no, yeah, yeah. I mean, how do you disagree with that? But I mean, if that's a conclusion that we should just like live healthier lives, I mean, when you think about that, it makes me question a lot of other things,
Okay.
uh, like pollution
Mm-hmm.
and working conditions and stress, working late, doing things that intentionally put stress on our body and don't really
Right.
promote healthy living. The food that
Yes.
we have access to, the people that make our food, all that stuff. Like it's all encompassed in that. So it's like it's hard to do that. It's hard to live healthy.
Yeah, it is hard. Well, just like everything's hard. But I almost feel like as we're evolving and technology is getting better, we're also having, there's also being harder ways to kind of go against that, you know. Just like you said, working now, we're working 8, 10, 12, sometimes even more hours.
Yeah, what the heck? Why haven't we evolved to not work so much anymore? Well,
I Do you think it's gonna get there to where we don't have to work so much?
it should. It should.
Do you think once the robots come and take over our jobs?
Um, I mean, that's inevitable. I mean, I feel like that
Right.
at this point, that's like a talking point that's hung over our heads, like just to scare you. Like, Go ahead, do it. If you're gonna, it's gonna happen. It's inevitable, right? That stuff's
Right,
inevitable. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. I don't know what the deal is. Like, I mean, you can't scare me with things like that. That's for
right,
sure. But I feel like at this point in life, how come we haven't lowered the work week, lowered the work day? Why are we still doing 40 hours, two jobs, three jobs to make a living?
right. Now, see, the question is if we would stop doing from 40 hours and we would stop working overall, what would we be doing?
I would whatever we wanted. I don't know. That's
Couldn't that also be a problem? Because
it
we
could be.
already do a lot of things that we want. Like if we want, we could go, we could stay at home and watch TV all day. We can go and eat
Well, not really. You
McDonald's.
need money.
Okay. So would you say, so then how would we get some type of income if there would be no
Uh,
work?
if there was to be no work, how do we? You know what? I can't think of an answer for that. I wouldn't know what to say.
Yeah,
That's something that I'd have to draw out over time, and I would have to do a lot of research.
right. Do you
But
think it would be good to bring it down from 8 hours to 6 hours?
sure, why not? Even if we still work 5 days a week, maybe more hours to work in the day. Or no, I'm sorry. If we were to cut down the work week an extra day, I would gladly work like 4 10s, 4 12s, three
Mm-hmm.
12s, to make up the 40 hours so I have more free time.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, like Monday or Friday becomes the weekend now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why not? And then you
And
could employ more people, right? More people will have jobs if you did that because now you have an extra day where you need someone else to work. So you're going to have that's an opportunity for someone else to work.
yeah, I think it's also hard because there's a lot of people out there that, even though they're given these benefits and even though they're given a good option, they also take advantage.
Do you think is that the majority or is that, what percentage is that? Like would I mean, I feel like that's
Yeah,
a
that's true.
bold
That's
thing to say, because I do work with people and I do know people that think most people are lazy,
right.
and that's, I mean, is that really what you think? Is that really how you
Yeah, I
see
think I
people?
think you're right where it would be probably just 10%, you know.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't be,
Yeah,
and that's a reality. Like that has to be something that would be considered, right? There are also people that are incapable of working, and what about them?
right,
People that can't hold a job, social disorders, physical disorders, the disabilities, things like that, and they need relief just as much as anyone else.
right. Yeah, because there's a lot of cases where, just that one person doing that can mess up the whole thing.
Yep. I wonder what the median age is in the United States. I'm actually gonna look that up really quick
Let me see.
because I have another theory about why things are the way they are still.
The median age average or what?
Average median age in the United States, in the
So it
US,
says 30, 37.
38,
Really?
37, 38,
Yeah.
2019. Okay, so what I'm getting at with that is
Hmm.
look at who runs the country. The average age of like Congress or people in Washington, I think it's a seven. They're late 60s, between the 60s and 70s.
Hmm. Right.
So that's something to consider, right? So we have old ideologies, old ways of
Mm,
doing things running the country.
true.
And in most instances these days, preventing people of our generation, of our age, closer to us, from getting to that point.
Right. Yeah. Did you
So
ever
I would say we're
watch
not really represented. We're not really well represented in this country.
did you watch the video where bunch of Congress are sitting down with Mark Zuckerberg.
They're doing a hearing or what?
Yeah,
I've
yeah, they
seen a
were.
couple of those.
Yeah, were they doing a hearing, and you could tell right away that the Congress didn't know what they were talking about,
Yes,
didn't know
yes.
what was going on,
The one
and
that you're, I think what you're specifically talking about. Sorry for cutting you off, but originally the game plan, I believe that was a Republican-led hearing, and the game plan was supposed to be to grill them on tech and the things that they've been getting away with lately. But it
mhm,
turned into the whole, why are you silencing the right? Why are you canceling right wing? Why are you doing this? Why can't I access my emails? Things like that. It turned into a joke. Instead of asking like real hard questions, it just became like this culture war thing, which is frustrating, right? We want real answers as to why they have so much influence in our elections, why they have so much influence in our daily life, and why their algorithms prefer to show us things that we hate to make us look at that stuff more rather than informing us or leaving it more open, for people to make it their own.
mhm. Yeah,
So,
yeah, and I mean during that hearing, it just it was just saddening. And then you see another, I don't know which hearing this was, but there was another hearing with somebody that looked like around 30s, and you could tell right off the bat that he knew exactly what he was talking about, you know. And it was, the same thing. It was asking, do you have programs like this that are constantly monitoring people and checking, you know you're where you're pretty much using them as as experiments,
mm,
and that's where you're like, it's such a big difference, because now it's no longer, like you say, 50, 60 people that are, that are old, that, now you have people that are, at least in this era, that understand more of technology and more of what's going on.
mm.
And it's like, we need
Our
that.
representative in California, Rokana, he specializes in that stuff,
Oh yeah.
and like tech in the cyber world. He's really big on that. I think I think I could be wrong, but I think he was trying to he was trying to write up the Internet Bill of Rights,
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
Which is,
I You'd have to look it up. It's been so long since I've looked that stuff up. But
what is it
it's
called?
just like the like the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. It's just for the internet, for the cyber world.
And that makes sense, because I mean, do we have anything right now that we can use upon these tech companies?
Mm-mm. No, nobody reads ELAs.
Yeah, see, and
So I was going to
that's
tell you really quick. The average median age of House members right now is 57.6 years. For senators, it's 62.9 years.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there you go.
Wow.
They're all old. I don't think any of them are millennials.
We
Well,
got it.
we have millennials there, but the average median age says otherwise.
Right. Where's my mouse? Wait, let me
Mm-hmm.
share the screen. Damn it. Oh, wait.
You okay?
I can't find the mouse. Here we go. Here we go. Share. Can you see that?
I do. There you go.
Let me make this bigger. There you go.
Yep.
So the Bill of Rights says right to universal web access, right to net neutrality, right to be free from warrantless metadata collection, right
That's
to
probably the biggest one.
disclose. Which one? This one? Right to be free from warrantless metadata collection. So what
Yeah,
that
because that's
means
where
is what, that they can go ahead and access it without any warrants.
Well, yeah, they collect your
Mm,
metadata. So like all the stuff you look at, they collect that, and then they're able to make algorithms to cater things to you. And
right.
that's usually what you give up whenever you get an app that's free. That's usually what you're giving up.
Mm, okay. Crazy.
Yeah,
So, is that going through to be signed?
no,
No. Why not?
because it's just not. There's nobody lobbying for that outside of the actual person in Congress. And I mean, there is an appetite now to go after tech companies and figure out, try to really hammer this stuff down, and we need to know answer these questions like why so much, why do we give everything away to them, why do they control so many things, because they literally shape our views and our
Mm-hmm.
worlds and everything based off of Facebook and Google.
Right. Where do you think they get their agenda from?
uh
Think they also get it from Republican or or
just
well,
politicians.
politicians. There you go. Politicians
It's
that are
it's a common it's
higher
lobbying.
uppy. Yeah.
No, it's lobbying. It varies from like either specific corporations that want to advertise with them to uh for lack of a better term, deep state, meaning like FBI, CIA, all those, and then whoever else they're doing business with, like around the world. So there's a lot. And then I guess at the end of the day, maybe I think it's about power,
Yeah.
power and money, mostly power.
Yeah.
Because
That's
they were,
crazy.
Facebook, I think in this last election was more influential than
This
anyone or
one,
anything else.
like
Yeah.
the what is it, 2020?
Yeah.
Really? More than the
hmm
2016?
Well, not more than 2016, but
Oh,
they had a big impact on the election, is what I'm saying.
right.
Um, the other thing is they're trying to, it's like a double-edged sword, because on the one hand you kind of don't want social media really interfering in the elections and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time it's one of the only vehicles that like grassroots candidates that don't have a lot of money or name exposure, or average joes, like if I was to run, I would need social media
Right.
to help boost me up, and I know that a lot of social media platforms want to crack down on stuff like that. So
Right.
it's like, I don't know how to feel about that. On the one hand, it's like, yeah, I stay out of politics, but on the other hand, you should. It's like it's the only way I can get my name out there. What the fuck?
Right. Yeah, and it is a helpful tool, but the problem is that sometimes it's the tool where it has way too much information coming from too many people, and there's a lot of stuff out there that is not true, and but
hmm
there's stuff that is true, and that's the problem when there's an abundance of information out there.
Yeah, and then like that's the thing to me is like it's not that I don't want to say it's influence, because I don't like to think of influence as something that I don't want to demonize the idea of influence.
Hmm.
It's something, but it's not everything. It's not
Right.
what it doesn't force things to happen, but it's how it's being delivered to you and what's being delivered to you. Like when you go on Google and you search something up, if you look I think we've talked about this before, if you look up Black Panther on Google, what's the first thing that's going to come up, do you think? What do you think?
The movie.
Exactly.
Hmm.
But why, like, how come you wouldn't see the actual Black Panthers, the movement?
Oh, right.
You know what I'm saying? So like stuff like that gets blurred as well, and it's
Right.
crazy to think about. You don't really consider it until it's like, wow, I want to know more about the Black Panthers, and you just get
Right.
bombarded with like music and groups and movies and all
Yeah.
these superficial face looking things that don't really give you anything, or
Right.
Wikipedia's at the top. It's
Yeah,
like,
and it's so
and
easy
that's
to,
kind of what I'm getting at.
yeah, and it's so easy because at the beginning of the first page, it already catches your attention. But I remember at the beginning of Google where you had to go like page after page after page to get
It'd be
like an, yeah,
good. It's
to
still
get
there,
like
but
actual, if actual accurate information, or information that you were looking for. But now, I mean, how many times have you really gone to the next page when you're searching into something? Very rare.
exactly.
It's
Might as
usually
well just
just
give
on the
up.
first page. Yeah, exactly. It's usually just on the first page. If you don't find it in the first page, you usually go and type something else up.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, forget this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna go watch cats gagging now.
Have you seen what is it, the social dilemma?
No. You
I
always tell me about
I
it, and I
feel
don't
like
want to
this
watch
is
it.
like the third time I've told you to watch it.
You have, and I'm like, I don't want to watch it. Please don't make me watch it. Like I have an idea what it's about already.
Yeah. Okay. Well, when you
And it's hard
watch
to
it,
watch that stuff with my girlfriend too, because like I don't want to watch depressing stuff, and
it's well, it's not depressing. It's just good information to
it's
have.
not.
No,
It's not. It's
it's an
depressing.
it's very, you become aware. You don't become depressed. You become aware. How's that?
No, no. You know that's not true. You know you get a little sad after watching it, like,
No,
oh,
no, you just get aware. You become aware and you understand it more, and you know exactly what's going. You, well, not exactly, obviously, but you kind of get the idea. You know. But yeah, you should watch it.
I feel like you're like one of the producers in that movie. You just want me to see, or you're in it and you want me to
Well,
see you.
yeah. Well, one of the things that it says is that with, because obviously it's based off algorithms, right? So as soon as what it, like Facebook is, for instance, what it usually does is try to get you in the groups, because once you're in the groups, and it goes from group to group, like, because that's where it builds community, and I think that's where mostly Facebook is about. It's about community, but a lot of those groups are, kind of like hate groups, or just groups that are not good for you. And a lot of those groups are also built by, or created by, people that may be out of the country, or are just simply just robots creating these things for groups to, groups to go against other groups and create chaos. And it kind of just gives you like an idea of how some of the algorithms work, you
There's a
know
lot of that stuff. I
yeah.
mean, there's other things. I mean, there are. Yeah, that's. I could see that. I'm not. I don't think I'm part of any group on Facebook. I might be lying. I've been on Facebook in about a month or so. I'm not on there that often. I'm sure people know that. Some people.
Yeah, it's probably the worst.
Is it?
I think so. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, because I mean, even then, even like I remember, like, in the beginning, where they're always constantly doing experiments, or they're always trying things, and you don't really know where it's going. You just go along with it, and
It's like we're gonna go
yeah,
to Washington D.C.
exactly, exactly, and stuff like that's what's happening, you know, and it's like what happened to the good old, like MySpace.
Yeah, people miss MySpace. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I miss MySpace.
Well, I think it's still around.
It is, but it's not.
It's not the
I
same.
think Justin Timberlake owns it or something like that. Let me. Who owns MySpace? I bet you my page right now is probably being used by like penis enhancement. Someone's going like, Steven, you messaged me on MySpace about enlarging. My member by 3 inches. What's your deal, dude?
Can I have some?
Could I have some? Do you remember MySpace, dude? You can put
Yes.
anything on your page. Your background page could be anything you wanted, and you could put a playlist. So when someone go to your page, music would play. That was the
Right.
shit.
And see, the thing about MySpace was that it was mostly about you. No, was it? It was more about like your personality, what you liked, what music you liked, what stuff you liked, and
Oh
I
my
think
god, that's so embarrassing. I don't even want to
right.
think about that.
And now it's more of, talking to strangers and
Is it?
posting
Have you been on
pictures.
MySpace?
No, no, I'm talking about like not MySpace, but like Instagram and Facebook stuff like
Oh,
that.
social
Yeah,
media. Okay.
now it's completely different.
Yeah, it is.
Do
It's
you think
super triggering.
do you think we're eventually gonna there's an app gonna be or a social media app gonna be created where now that we've learned what social media is capable of, it can be the opposite to where it doesn't capture algorithms to where hmm, well kind of just like the opposite of what's going on. Do you think we'll get
No,
there? No.
no. Mm.
Why? Because there's no profit based.
No. It's just there are there are people and groups in power that won't let that happen.
So
It's pretty. It's a
should
little
we
bit
call it
troubling.
quits? Should we call it quits and just
Can you? You can't. It's like it's like a car these days. You can't really. You can function, but not fully without it.
right?
Especially if you want to become a independent or an entrepreneur or business person, you need social media.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you're doing your podcast, you need exposure. You need
Right.
people to see it. I
Right.
mean, granted, it's on social media platforms, but you need to use those other platforms to get
Yes.
your name out there. How do you think you would do without it? What would you do? Just put flyers up in your city
I would have to. Yeah.
and go to the local uh, gun store and be like, "Hey guys, you want to check out this podcast? I'm gonna own this lib."
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking like the other day where something was going on with my laptop and every time after an episode I get scared that it might get deleted or something may happen to the laptop or you know I wouldn't be like what if we would be without internet, like how would I get my podcast out there?
That's
And
true.
yeah, and it's like and even then it would just be local, like it wouldn't be able to reach you.
You could make DVDs and see if Redbox will sell it.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it's hard to make stuff like not profit based without as also in you getting some money out of it, because at the end of the day we all need money, and it's hard to.
unfortunately.
Yes, but I believe that once you find what you want to do and you make it the best, eventually the money will catch up.
I mean, I could see that. I could probably get behind that. Maybe. I mean, if my unless my dream is to start a social media platform, then that's dead on arrival.
Right. But it also
Trump
depends how
tried.
you but it depends also how you make it. Cuz you could just make it like, just like Instagram, just like Facebook and TikTok, but if you have a different personality, you're not worried about ego, you're not worried about money, then you're just probably in hopes doing it for the people, doing it for the community.
Yeah, but then you get like the social media example. If you once you do that, you just get infiltrated by some of the worst people.
What do you mean?
It just will become like a racist ball of just grossness.
Yeah.
Because they want, there's people that want that outlet. There are some people with some pretty shitty ideas and thoughts, and you got to be willing to let that happen too.
Yeah.
That's why
As
I'm
long,
not starting a social media company.
do you think as long as they don't start up their own groups?
There's nothing you can do about it. It's going to happen no matter what.
Yeah.
There will always be groups. There will always be people coming together. It'll happen no matter what. Society,
True.
everything we believe and know, all of our social norms could end tomorrow, and we'll just make new ones again. It's just that's just how we're wired. We're at some point seek order or law or reason for whatever we do. You can't just be. No way.
Where do you think that comes from?
I don't know. It's our makeup. It's how we are. We're not individuals, truly.
Right. Do you think that comes
We're all,
from like our ancestors of being very tribal and always being trying to be the strongest, the most powerful, and everybody just has that inside them?
yeah. I mean, I don't think we'd be here today on a computer having a podcast otherwise. I can't even think about it. It's like imagining you were like an inch taller. There's no way you can think that. Your whole life could be different. If I was an inch taller, so many things would be different right now. You know, the
Right.
world could have ended
Yes.
for being an inch taller.
Yeah. And I mean, we've come like a long way, I would imagine, from what we looked, even just how we looked before.
Yeah, we have less hair.
Yeah. Do you think in the future we'll have even more or less hair? We'll be bald?
Mm-hmm. We'll have less hair. We'll be our skin will probably be paler because we probably won't go outside anymore. Our bodies will be skinnier. Our heads will get bigger.
So we would look like aliens?
Yeah, it's exactly like that's exactly it. Yeah, that's how it looks.
So you think the aliens, let's say there are aliens out there, you think that's just a future version of us?
It could be. It's a theory.
That's how I would imagine ourselves like in the future. Just, skinny and having a big old head and maybe not even talking, just like
Hmm. Exactly.
communicating telepathically.
Tiny mouths. Well,
Yes.
through the
Or
internet.
maybe not
Tiny
even
mouths,
not even mouse.
tiny noses, huge. Our eyes would probably be huge. We wouldn't have ears anymore
Why wouldn't we have ears?
because everything just gets put into our heads. It's just like uploaded.
Yeah. So we would just need our eyes. What about to eat?
We probably would have it. We'd probably have everything condensed into like a pill. Everything you need
Eee.
in a day is here. You just take it. You're fed.
And you're
You're
done
not
for all
thirsty.
day. You're good
Uh
for all
huh.
day.
All the drugs are in there, so you feel everything at once. You're just everything in that pill.
That's scary.
Is it scary?
Maybe.
Because think about it. There was people saying at one point, "Oh, one day you're gonna be you're gonna have everything in the palm of your hands,
Right.
access to everything in the palm of
And
your
now
hands," and
we
now we
do.
do. We
Yeah.
do.
It's just so crazy how it slowly comes up, but you don't really notice it till you're there and you're like, how did I get here? Where
Mm-hmm.
did this
Mm-hmm.
shit come from?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because even like I've uh I've read that back with when our ancestors around, they would obviously they would be hunter gatherers, so all they would eat was meat, and one of the things that they found out was that their mouth was huge, because they had their full set of teeth because they needed that full set of teeth to chew on meat.
Mm-hmm.
And now as we're evolving, and as our food portions are getting smaller, there's people now with smaller mouths and with less teeth. And now we're having to take off our molars and everything. So everything, just like you said, everything's getting smaller and smaller to where everything's gonna be just a pill.
That'd be interesting. Our mouths will be tiny enough only to fit the pill.
Yeah,
That's gonna suck. You know what? I'll probably be dead by then. I'm thinking.
you're not scared for
Yeah.
the future generation.
Yeah. Everything we do should be for the future generation, and the fact that we're not doing everything for the future generation is pretty terrifying.
Right.
Yeah. Like we should take care. We need to take care of our educators more better, and our doctors, and our babysitters, and the people that all the people that have hands that have their influence involved in children should be better for them so that it's not so hard for kids to come up, or the people dealing with them have the freedom and the clarity to help the future progress.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty simple. I mean, but I'm sure a lot of people don't agree with me for some
Yeah.
reason. Like
It's
it's hard to
simple.
argue with kids are the future.
Yeah. It's yeah, you're right. It is simple, but it's also very hard to see it with everything around, like all the distractions and, like I said, an abundance amount of information. Because they could be, whether you're forward towards it, there's people that are for it, but there's also that are against it, and there is information on both sides.
Yeah. I mean, and that's not a bad thing. Like
Right.
I think more information is what we need, rather than censoring people, just keep informing, keep talking to people, that's in my opinion, that's how you get through to somebody. It's not shutting them off or shutting them down. Like that's never okay. You shouldn't do things like that.
Right. Right. And we should have more accurate information.
Sure. I mean, or not.
Or not.
Like the people that are tasked with delivering information should deliver accurate information.
Right. Yes. Yes, for sure. Yes. And see, that's one of the things what when I see what like people post things of what's going on, the first thing
Mhm.
I go is to their profile. Okay, if I'm gonna believe it,
You
who is
stalk them.
this? Yeah, exactly. Who is this person? Is this person legit, or he just someone that wants to talk out of his ass?
What do you mean by legit?
Like legit, like he's okay. Like
Like you're saying if somebody talks to you about aliens and you look up their social media, they better have a bunch of stuff about aliens.
well, not exactly, because it's also good to just throw ideas out there or theories out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're trying to make but if you're trying to make people believe what you're believing, you got to have some evidence to back it up,
Oh,
or some
for sure,
facts, right?
for
And that's
sure.
what I try to see. It's like, okay,
Okay.
if you're trying to pass your idea and have everybody believe what you want to believe, have you do you are you really invested in this idea? How far invested are you in this idea? Stuff like that.
I mean, that's all with anything, right?
That should be with everything.
Yeah, just talking out of your ass shouldn't get you very far.
Yeah, exactly.
Although it did make somebody president.
Yeah, even I don't know. That's
Oh
that's
no,
a
where'd you go?
that's
What
a
happened?
tough one. I don't know. What do you mean?
Oh, you lagged a little there.
Oh, yeah, even that's weird. Like, do you think it, 4 years is a good amount of time for someone to be president.
Yeah, yeah, why not? I mean, the thing that I think a lot of people don't realize about terms when it comes to being a politician is like a lot of times, like the president, for example, the president usually only has they're president for 4 years, okay,
Mm-hmm.
but they usually only get about a year, maybe a year and a half tops, maybe even less than a year to push an agenda or push whatever they were, elected to do. Let's say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and I'm being very generous by saying after that point, you've got you've got other people in your party that are running for reelection. Then after that, you got to get ready. Let's say if it's your first term, you got to get ready for another election the year after that. So so you only get this small window to really do what you want to do because after that you're running for reelection
Mm-hmm.
or somebody's running for reelection. And as president, depending on what party, since we only have two for some reason, they have to go and slack for their party.
Mm-hmm.
That's I mean, if I hope people know that. Like that's
Right.
how that works.
Right. So you think it should be longer, like
Mm,
5, 6 years?
I couldn't tell you. I really don't know, Omar. I wouldn't have an answer to that. It's hard to say because I don't even like the idea that you're there for 4 years and you're spending half of that time campaigning. That's
Right.
annoying in itself, right?
Yep.
Like we sent you there to do a job, and the hope is if you do a good enough job, we'll put you there again, or we'll put somebody like you there again.
Yeah.
And it's just not like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it would be a good idea to maybe have it longer because even then, like if someone's present, there's always way to try and get him out. If let's say he's we find out it's a horrible person, we fucked up. We're like, shit. Why did we why did we elect this guy
We've
as president? We fucked up. you
we've
know.
had horrible presidents for like the last what since I've been alive. We've had
Mhm.
pretty terrible presidents. Like they've done some good things around the edge, but for the most part, they're not good. You can't really say that they're good.
True, but I mean, they may. Would you say that they're not good, but they're not horrible?
If you've killed, if you have killed innocent people, then
Hmm.
you're not good.
True.
That's all I'll say about that. That's it.
Yeah.
And I'm saying it specifically that way because sometimes innocent people don't get killed. But if innocent people are harmed for no fault through no fault of their own, then you're wrong. Even if
Right.
it's just one, it's still wrong. And I don't think there's been a president that has not had that does not have blood on their hands.
Mm. So are you saying that we shouldn't have a president at all?
No, I'm not saying that either. I'm saying that we as a society need to wake the fuck up and become more civically active,
Yeah.
starting at the local level.
Right.
Like you need to, as much as like even growing up, even talking to people now, nobody wants to talk about politics. It's
Right.
very niche.
Right.
And then now in the United States, we have a situation where our own neighbors are we're supposed to look at our own neighbors as enemy, and we're being told that by one side or another side, and it's not that simple. Like nobody is straight down the line like that. You're gonna differ on something, and the idea that you're just a sycophant for the party or whatever your ideology is just it's ridiculous. It doesn't make
Right.
sense. Our
Right.
neighbors are not our enemies. That's actually the people we're supposed to work with, you know, to make common ground, to find common ground and make meaningful change for what we said earlier for the future generation. Like everything we do should help the future generation.
Right. And see, I don't know if politics has become like more and more exposed, or It's just that now, as I'm getting older, I have to now be involved in
Mm.
politics.
I think it's by design. It's the way that what you just said is like by design. There is there are power sources and groups of people that don't want you to ever care about politics, or what we have now, at each other's throats constantly,
Mm-hmm.
because people because maybe, and I'm just spitballing and throwing a theory out there, more people are paying attention to politics. The
Yes.
last election, we had a significantly higher voter turnout for the presidential election. So that tells you that people are paying attention. It's just how people are being directed, and the ways they're being pushed.
Right. I guess that would
You
be
know,
one of the good things about social media is that more people are sharing information like that.
yeah. And every now and again, when I go on Facebook, I'll try and share stuff. Normally, when I share things about politics, it's usually to inform on both sides. On the
Mm-hmm.
Because we have two parties, I want to inform on both sides, and mostly to let people know, hey, it ain't really good here, and it ain't really good here. And they're
Like
they're both doing the same things, and you just need to open your eyes, and even do the most minimal research to find out that they're both parties are corrupt, both sides are corrupt, and
right.
change needs to happen.
Have you heard of an app called Ground News?
Ground news?
Yeah, it's an
No.
app called Ground News where if there's an article or something happens, it usually it usually divides it into three. It divides it into, the blue, the red, and then everything in the middle. And it's so
Weird.
yeah, it's so that way you can tell, like you could see the difference. What is the how even the headline. Like when I've seen it and like on the articles, it's a huge difference on the headline from from the blue to the red to the middle. And usually what hopefully what you want to stick to is the middle because
Mhm.
that's where it's just going to inform you. It's not really to supporting one side or the other.
I don't know how I feel about that, because that's subjective, right?
What do you
That's
mean?
that's hard. How do they find the middle ground for something?
And
Are they
the
are they
middle
just
ground
delivering
is
balls of
like
strikes?
the middle ground is like media like The Hill or
Do you watch The
other.
Hill?
Sometimes, yeah.
What do you watch on The Hill?
What do you mean
Crystal and
by
Sagar?
yes?
Me too. Do you watch their new thing now?
Yes, sometimes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
And see, that's when you go to the middle, that's who usually ends up writing those reports. It's like people like, the Hill.
how'd you find out about him?
About who the Hill?
Yeah, no, Crystal and Sagar.
Oh,
Forget The Hill.
oh, Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan. Oh, did you
Yeah.
just watch the Joe Rogan with them?
No, that was oh no, I watched the first one. I haven't
Okay,
watched the recent
when
one.
the George Floyd protest, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
when they
yeah,
first went
yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah. But see,
I've been watching them. They're good.
yeah,
They're
they're
good.
good. They're good.
They're
And
really
see,
good.
the good thing
Especially
about them is that one of them was one of them is like a hard Democrat, and one of them is a hard Republic, and they both.
no, she's not. She's not a hard Democrat.
What do you?
Cristobal is, let's say, lefty. Let's just say lefty,
Okay, lefty,
and then we'll say Sagar and Jetty is a
righty.
conservative.
Okay,
But the type of conservatism that he's doing is different than what's in the mainstream.
right.
And that's the thing, is that there is middle ground. They agree on
Yes,
certain things.
right.
That's why I love that they're so good. They're so awesome.
And I mean, the good thing about them is that they've also been involved in those high-end news media, so they kind of already know what's going on,
Hmm.
and they
Well, they're
kind
able to present it. They make it palatable for people that watch Fox and CNN and all that,
hmm
because they do that. They deliver it that way. So I
right.
mean, I just think they're fantastic. You
Yes.
know, I don't agree with everything that they say,
hmm
but I see where they're coming from.
right. And see, it's like we need more of that. We need more of kind of, like you said, both sides talking it out and coming out with one solution or one idea
Yeah, or a
that
combined
sounds,
solution, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, 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 exactly.
Yeah, I mean, and that's on many issues, not just like whatever you feel like, you know.
Right.
I totally see what you're saying. It's definitely the way to go, and I actually would go even further and say even more than reading about the middle or watching something like Crystal and Sagar. You got to do your own research too. You got to
Mm-hmm.
dabble a little bit of everything, and this is what makes following politics so hard is that it's double the work every single time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and, and a lot of people don't have time for that, nor do they want to
Yeah.
make time for that.
It's just like everything else. You kind of have to make time for it to actually do it because you could get so distracted with everything that's going on in society.
I mean, doesn't that seem like it's by design to intentionally make it so you can't?
Yeah.
You got to work all the time. You don't got time to go to
You got to work even when
the
you're not
local,
working.
yeah, the mayor's race.
Yeah.
That's that you're not paying attention to who's on your city council,
Right.
your comptroller,
And
who's
even
your
then
sheriff.
that's even more important though, to look at like your local politicians.
It's the most important. It's
Yeah.
the most important. If you want, this is a PSA. If you want real change in your community, you have to get involved in local politics. National politics is is not really the way to do it. It,
Right.
it starts from the ground up.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, your city council, your the superintendent of your schools, all these things that you vote for at the local level are more important than what happens nationally
Right.
because
Right.
it's affecting you directly. It's right in your city. It's right
Right.
in your district. Like,
Right.
and there's also not too many outlets of information when it comes to local politics. Like I remember, like I try to follow like city council races and stuff, and it's hard to find what these people's policy beliefs, their ideologies are, or what
Hmm.
they're fighting for, and things about them. You got to go to like their Facebook page.
Hmm.
They don't got money to set up websites, and usually if
Right.
they got money to
Yeah.
set up websites and do all that other shit, you got to find out where's that money coming from. Who are you?
Right. Yep. Very true. Do you think you would go to another country, another state? Do you have that urge
To visit,
to visit, not to stay?
to
You wouldn't
visit.
want to stay in another country?
No, 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 not right now. No, I could tell you that at least.
Uh-huh.
Tomorrow I'm not. I'm going to still be in California. I like it in California, and
Mm-hmm.
people are leaving California now, so
Right.
it's going to be cool again. There's a lot of people are going to leave,
It's
and
gonna
it's
be
going to
cool
be like,
again.
all right, cool.
Is it? You don't think it's one of the things where you don't realize how great or what you were missing until you're gone from it?
That's why I said I'd be willing to visit. Like I'll go visit you down in Tejas.
Texas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll go check out that slice of life. Like, oh, it's nice here.
Right.
But I still can't wait to be home.
Yeah. And it's so crazy because even just like when we moved here, like it feels nice. Like it kind of feels like home almost, you know? Or it's good.
Almost.
Yeah. Like it's like a good change. And see, even after coming here and living here and settling down, I almost feel just like trying out somewhere else and see how that place would feel. Maybe out of
Wow,
state, maybe out of the country.
that'd be
There's
interesting.
I feel like there's a lot that you learn about yourself, what you're capable of when you get out of your own environment.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I do jujitsu right now. Get out of my comfort zone,
Yeah, yeah,
big
yeah.
time.
That's
Get beat up for a few hours a day. That's always fun.
yeah. And then you're gonna start a podcast, right?
I'm gonna start a podcast. I don't think so, Omar.
Why not?
I think the most I would do is like this. Be your most your guest that you've had on the most. People, I bet you people look at it like, hey, this Steven guy is always on here. Like, what's up with him? I'm gonna look him up. There's no information on him. I gotta follow him. He's so cool. He's like under the radar.
He's so mysterious.
So mysterious. Where do you find this guy?
Yeah.
No, I think like the furthest I'd go is like probably producing for other people, helping
Hmm.
other people start a podcast. It's kind of like a sort of grassroots thing, and I do want to do that.
Hmm.
I am in the process of doing that.
Yeah, man. Like even like, I mean, just having a podcast, I would say it's like super, for me at least, very beneficial. And
Me?
what? Or
What'd
even
you say?
having, it's good to have, like you, or it's funny because like when people ask me like, oh, who do you have on, I'm like, oh, I have people that are involved in careers, or people that I find interesting, and then I have Steven.
I don't fall under any of those other things.
Yeah, but I mean, and honestly, this one's like, this is always a podcast that's fun, not only for me but also for people to listen to and watch.
I find that hard to believe,
It's
but I'll
like a
take your word
breaker,
for it. Yeah.
at least at least from what I've heard. So
Wow. Who did you hear from? Was it like your wife and
algorithms.
Luis
Yeah.
algorithms?
Yeah.
I would hope I have the most watched podcast. I hope your most watched podcast was when you came down here.
Oh yeah. Actually, the one with the most is actually the first one. The first one. Yeah.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah, and it's crazy because it's always like I kind of I get it. It's like the first one because people already want to know like, okay, what's going on, So they get into the first one, and then they're like, okay, I get it.
I really liked your first one. It was really good.
Really?
Hmm. Yeah, the your guest, the was that your boss or something like that?
Yeah, that was my boss.
Yeah, it was really cool, like hearing his story and hearing about his experiences and how what stuck out to me, how he well, pretty much one thing that's no, I'm not going to say that part. But the other thing that stuck out to me is when he talked about how he had been away for so long and
Yeah.
removed from like normal society that he went to show up at somebody's house randomly after TVs were invented. They're like,
Yeah.
"What are you doing here?"
Imagine, you being born in the United States. You live here till you're 10 years old. You go to a third world
Prison.
country
Oh,
and you come back 15 years later. It's like stepping into a new world.
yeah, yeah. Everyone's like looking down on their phones and stuff, and
Yeah. And you're like, hey, hey, hey.
hey, what do you want? Hey, hey, hey! You just
Yeah, that's so crazy. Yeah, it makes me sad also for like, especially for, I wanted my kid to have kind of like a childhood that I have, to where you can go outside and there's gonna be kids out there and you could just play, you could do whatever you want, get in trouble a couple times, fuck it, but now there's no kids out there.
there aren't.
No. Like
Maybe your daughter is just mean to everybody and like, oh no, get inside, get inside.
but I mean, it's a huge difference from, maybe from our childhood.
Yeah, I mean, I
You
wasn't
know?
allowed to go to people's houses as a kid. I was outside all the time,
Yeah. And
but
see
still,
when
yeah, yes,
yeah, and see
I was
when I was a kid too, I would there would be some times where I didn't even after school, I wouldn't even go home. I would go straight to my friend's house and I wouldn't get home till 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and you know,
what the heck,
nobody would hear. But then
man?
again,
If I ever accidentally had kids, I would not let my kids stay out that late.
if I accidentally had kids.
9 o'clock, like what the fuck are
Yeah,
you thinking?
right. But then again, that was in Mexico, you know. But even then, like, I feel like now there's more I'm glad that there's more parents taking responsibility of their own kids, you know.
Is there?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's why you need to have a kid, Steven.
No, don't say that.
Yeah.
Don't say things like that. Don't say things.
Why not?
It's weird. Let's, if we're gonna talk about that, we'll do that over a phone call, not over a fucking podcast.
Why not?
It's very personal,
That's
and
okay.
we're, we're close enough. We're close enough to where I can have that conversation with you without the rest of the world knowing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I tell you, like having a kid really changed me personally,
Seems
and
like you have less time.
I do. But that time that I do, I invested in things that are worth it and things that are going to be beneficial for her and my family. To where if I
But don't you
didn't,
ever want to do things that are worthless,
I am.
like drinking or jumping in a
No.
puddle during the rain?
But see, with drinking, I'm done with that. I already had my I already had my time. I already did had my share of it. I'm done with it.
Oh, you're
You know,
one of those people.
and that what do you mean those people? And see,
That
I
then,
feel like if you don't move away from that, then that can definitely get you or continue to get you in trouble.
oh yeah, of course. You can't just fucking drink all the time. I mean,
But see,
eventually your liver gives out.
I'm almost certain that if I wouldn't have a kid, I would probably be in that position.
Or you would have started a podcast sooner. You can't know. You
No,
can't know these things. Don't sit here and pretend you know.
I honestly wouldn't. I honestly don't think I would start a podcast. I don't think I would move to Texas. Everything that I'm doing, I honestly don't think I would be doing if I didn't have a kid.
Wow,
Like
it's messed up.
as soon as it is, but for I'm glad because I needed something like that. I
No, I mean
needed,
that's messed up for your wife. What about her? I'm just kidding.
but see, some people need that. Some people, like for me, I needed that because I needed like a wake up call. Like this is no longer about you. Now you have another person to worry about. You need to get your shit together.
That's a lot of pressure.
I like it.
Obviously, I mean, you have a kid.
But I mean, I guess it's not for everybody.
Sure. I mean, there are. Never mind. I was about to hit some really dark humor. I don't think I'm.
Go for it.
No.
Oh
Go
yeah.
for it. You're like egging me on now. Ooh, this douchebag says this about things.
Yeah. All right, Steven. I gotta
All
wrap
right.
it up, buddy.
Okay. Get rid of that sign, please.
What sign?
The one on your bed, please. The one above your bed. What the hell is that? What does it say?
Says my favorite love story is ours.
What the heck is that?
I put it up there just for you since this is
The
gonna be a
podcast?
yeah.
Just you knew it would bother me. I hate I hate generic sayings on a board posted on a wall. That's the worst.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Well, thanks for coming on and you know Thanks for, this fun conversation. A lot of,
Oh yeah, it's always fun with you, dude.
I love it. All
Yeah, of
right.
course.
Take care, man. Talk to you later.